Hello and welcome to another podcast on Anfield Index Pro. How are we all today? After the Loads of Right Backs podcast was well received, I thought we'd shift to the other side and do loads of left backs. Later in the week, or maybe probably next week, we'll do loads of centre backs. Then we might do loads of defensive midfielders, followed by loads of number nines, though there aren't that many in truth that are really going to be good enough for us. The same would apply to left wing. There just aren't that many, but there'll be a few. So maybe combine 9 and left wing into one. And then a loads of right wingers podcast, maybe, where we can look at people who could either come in and play there now if either Mo leaves or Mo gets moved centrally, or younger players that potentially could come in and be the successor to Mo, stay behind him for a year or two, develop, and then take over. But anyway, we're going to launch into left backs, and we've broken them into categories as well. We've got defensive, attacking, established, and teenagers. And we'll start with the defensive ones because they're who I have in front of me. The first one is an obvious one. It's a name I've thrown out for probably 18 months, 2 years now. Piero Hincapié, the Ecuadorian at Bayer Leverkusen. I think from a defensive point of view, he is as good as it gets. He is a phenomenal 1v1 defender. He's quick, he's aggressive, and he's really good on the ball as well. Like, he's a powerful runner. He can overlap and cross. He can underlap and get himself into the box. I don't see any real downside with him. He's 23. Of course, he can play centre-back, though he's too short to ever be a starting centre-back for us. He clocks in at a measly 6 foot, and of course, we like our centre-backs to be sort of 6'3" and above. But Hincapié is really, really good. Like, he's just a really good footballer, a really top-end defender. And if you were to pop him in at left-back, you would have no concerns about that position for the next 5, 6, 7 years. Now, playing a defensive left back is always going to come with having to make up for it with a more attacking option somewhere else. So, if you were signing a Frimpong to play right back, then Hincapié is exactly who you'd want at left back. But that's not to say that this guy in particular wouldn't be in a situation where he could still be additive going forward, because he's good enough on the ball. He knows what he's doing when he gets into the final third. So I think he's a great option for us. And if we want a defensive one, he is the best option in my view. The real upside play at left back is Castello Lukeba of RB Leipzig, the French centre back / left back, who came through the Lyon Academy, has been at Leipzig now for nearly 2 seasons. They signed him for big money, 32 million, something like that, as a replacement for Gvardiol when Gvardiol went to Manchester City. So I would imagine he would cost a significant amount of money. Like, you could be looking at 60 million plus for him, which for me, I just don't think you should be paying for fullbacks unless it's a Trent Alexander-Arnold type individual. Lukeba's strong defensively. He does still make mistakes because he's still quite young at 22. He gets caught out of position a little bit. He's kind of in between positions because I think he prefers playing centre-back, but his skill set and size definitely lend themselves better to left-back. He could be your lockdown defensive left-back. He could have Hincapié levels in that position. Focus is the main thing with him. He's outstanding on the ball. He doesn't show it enough at Leipzig, though. Because I was talking to somebody a few months ago about him, and I was saying, like, he's a really, really good ball carrier. And they were like, well, I haven't seen that. And then they watched him play, and he played a left back in a game. And he was making 30, 40, 50-yard runs with the ball at his feet. And they were like, oh, it's just that when he plays centre-back, either he's told not to do it or he's smart enough not to do it because he doesn't want to leave his team exposed. when he plays left back, you really see his on-ball game. You really see him shine when he's got the ball at his feet, playing left back and getting forward. But he is primarily a defensive option. And he's an enormous, enormous talent. It's a shame we didn't buy him from Lyon. Like, we apparently had interest in Gvardiol, and City just blew everybody out of the water with what they paid from 70-odd million or 67 million, whatever it was. It's a shame we weren't better positioned to turn around and buy him. We were so focused on trying to fix our midfield that summer. But he's a special one. He is a special talent, and if we got him, it would probably be more than you'd want to pay, but you're still locking down that position for a long time. Next up, more of a bargain option, potentially. This is a gamble on potential. Is Tom Rothe at Union Berlin. He's interesting because he's 6'4", but he's a natural left back who can play a bit of centre back, but you take away from some of what he does at left back because, again, like the others, he's comfortable getting forward. This is his first season with Union. He was at Holstein Kiel last season after coming through the Dortmund Academy. And I saw him a few times for Holstein last season. And you know when you just see something that looks different? Like when we all saw Dan Burn for the first time, and you're like, there's a 6'7" left back. It's kind of the same thing when you see a 6'4" left back who bombs up and down. But he is very, very strong defensively. Very young, so does make mistakes. You're not getting the finished product with him at all. Like, there's still a lot of work to do. But price-wise, 15 million is probably the upper limit of what it would cost. So he could be a bargain. Now, it might be a case where, you know, you'd look at him and say, okay, at this point, he's more of a squad player, and that could be a fair assessment. But he is just a very interesting profile, and he's an interesting player. He's a German under-21 international, only a couple of caps, but he is one I think has some decent upside. The next one is purely a centre-back, but I'm including him because I kind of don't want us to pass on him. And unlike the others on this list, I think he could long-term, and by that I mean, you know, in 3 years, become our starting left-side centre-back. He might be the one you buy to fill in at left-back and then succeed Virgil at centre-back. Now, he's not an attacking player. He's, unlike the others, you're not going to want him overlapping. You're not going to want him doing any of the traditional left-back stuff. You would want him defending. It would allow you to defend with a back three, so you would get stronger defensively, but you would lose out on what our left back tends to offer going forward. And this is also the hardest deal to make of anybody on this list. It's Jarrad Branthwaite of our beloved neighbours. We've been interested in him for a couple of years. When he was at PSV on loan from Everton, there was a lot of talk that we were interested. There was talk that we tried to sign him last summer and that Everton just feared the backlash. Now, Everton have new owners. They're also moving into a new stadium. They've got still significant amounts of debt to work off. And he apparently is very ambitious. And I don't know that he would be against the idea of moving across to Liverpool. He's not from Everton. He didn't grow up an Everton fan or anything like that. Like, he's from Carlisle, came through their academy. Everton bought him. I think they paid about £1 million. He would be very expensive. I don't think he'd be as expensive as he was quoted at last summer when the talk was they want 75. You might get him for 65 this summer. It's still an enormous outlay. And it's still a clunky fit at left back. But you would be getting potentially your Van Dijk successor as well. 6'5", quick, good on the ball, needs to get more dominant in the air, that's obvious. But it's not like a thing that he's a shrinking violet. He's not a fella who's winning like 43% of his aerials. And he's played under Dyche and he's now playing under Moyes. And whatever we might think about those two as managers, they do set a defense up pretty well. So he's going to have had good schooling. And obviously playing with PSV will have developed the football inside of his game. And we saw it in the derby. Like, he fires that ball to midfield with great accuracy and with plenty of pace on it. So he only wins 61.5% of his aerials. You would want that to tick up. But it's the same with a lot of young centre-backs. Like Huijsen, for example, is mid-50s. But you would back him to improve in that area. And I think Branthwaite is significantly better than him already there. And he's got a bigger frame. So I think he could improve in the air. If you put him at left back, he's going to win 80% of his aerials. Because instead of going up against big strikers, he's going to be going up against smaller wingers. So he'll dominate in the air there, and then it's a matter of can he shift it back into the middle. I just wanted to include him because I think he's a really, really good player. And if we do have strong interest in him, and if there is a view that this guy might be our Van Dijk successor, then get him now, even if you have to shoehorn him at left back a little bit and alter the team ever so slightly.
The Reds, it's Jack here, and that was a clip from one of Anfield Index's audio podcasts. If you have enjoyed the video, make sure you do like, share and subscribe to keep up to date on all things LFC. We record around 100 audio podcasts every month, with our shows featuring match-going fans, top journalists, professional analysts and even Liverpool legends along the way, with the Great Dane himself, Jan Molby, joining us every single week. If you want to listen to all our podcasts for free, head over to anfieldindex.com/podcasts. Our audio shows are available wherever you get your podcasts. Just search Anfield Index. Or if you prefer to listen to all our podcasts in full and without any ads, why not head over to AI Pro today to check it out now at AnfieldIndexPro.com. If you want to get involved in the great growing community of Liverpool fans, check out the Anfield Index Discord. The link is in the description. Do get involved with that from Reds around every corner of the globe. For now, Reds, hope you enjoyed this video.